You want to eat the moon. The moon, sadly, isn't made of cheese, but that won't stop you from trying. The best way to do that? Why, signing away your soul, becoming a glass being that's still pain, sleep, and hunger, and riding a skateboard through the cosmos to beat that bad boy into lunar submission. Naturally, this incurs the wrath of the chief philosopher and the wandering eyes who, despite being just eyes, can't tolerate your racket. Don't worry though, after an ephemeral rabbit guides you onto 2 think pieces and you pass evaluation, the moon is rightfully yours for the snacking. Except, that's the beginning rather than the end. Okay, I swear I'm not crazy. In fact, this is a blow-by-blow account of the first 20 minutes or so of Skate Story by Sam Eng. Long in development, delayed multiple times, and finally available for PC, PS5, and Nintendo Switch 2, it's a game about skateboarding. The bee at the florist, the fluffy creature in the Bagelworld who gives you warm milk and oddly appears later in a completely different role, the skeleton fleeing with shears in its mouth. They're all distractions. The real friends really are the skateboarding that we performed along the way. It certainly isn't the skeleton that remembers summer, the real summer, before it disintegrates into dust, or the other one that sinks its teeth into a heart. Not really, it's just happily hanging off a street lamp to make up for the lack of one that it has in its chest before also disintegrating. Or the train propelled by millipede-like legs that we need, what else, a millicard to ride to face the blood-red moon, which went down easier thanks to the milk. At least, the twin moons came to me projecting scuttling blue scorpions that were seemingly content to vibe on this impromptu dance floor. Yeah, if this is all sounding a little too surreal, I absolutely promise you that the visuals and music will not cure that. Skate Story has this color bleed effect, which can be turned off in the settings, which combines with the per-object motion blur and screen space reflections to make environments feel that much more dreamlike. If the random stop signs, hurdles, pavements, and glass needles weren't already doing that for you. As delirious as it feels at times, however, the art direction is sublime, an appropriately uneasy balance between aesthetically pleasing and aesthetically appropriate. Contrast this to its first trailer all those years ago, and it's mind-boggling to see the leaps that Skate Story has taken. Be warned though, the amount of flashing lights can be a bit much, and it can occasionally be difficult to make out some paths due to background clutter. The incredible soundtrack by Blood Cultures, with John Flo also contributing some tracks, is also a notable anchor. It's easy to get wrapped up in its flow as the skateboarding becomes more meditative. When it's not leaning back on chill instruments, there's an eclectic mix of psychedelic pop and chill wave. I know it's probably going to be impossible given the release timing, but this absolutely deserves a nomination for Soundtrack of the Year. Even the sound effects are on point. Your skateboarding slamming against the pavement is so satisfying and realistic, further enhanced by the sound of breaking glass. Different surfaces produce unique sounds, as you'll quickly learn when skateboarding on brick floors. There are some places where effects are missing, the laundromat for instance, but if anything, they enhance the overall weirdness of the situation. As an experience, Skate Story is something unlike else out there, but what about the gameplay? Despite how much of a fever dream this all is, the skateboarding is quite robust. You start with the most basic of tricks, an ollie and a kickflip, before quickly progressing towards the heel flip. Of course, you can pull off this and much more pretty much immediately, whether it's manuals and reverts or frontside 180s and grinds. A small timing meter appears whenever performing a trick. Perfectly time an ollie, for instance, and you'll pop up higher. However, this isn't quite like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, where you complete objectives within a single sandbox-like level, discovering secrets, spelling skate, and whatnot. Several segments play out more like a linear platformer, as you barrel down paths, warping from one to the next through portals, while avoiding obstacles like fire or turning on a dime to avoid slamming into glass needle bushes. To be clear, it's a dream to control. The responsiveness while performing tricks is great and it all feels natural, though successfully nailing grinds can take some getting used to. There's also some iffy collisions where it felt like I should have hit a lamppost but phased right through it. Running through these sections, there is a distinct feel of discovering the best paths for racking up the highest scores. Since continuously repeating the same tricks will cause the combo to deplete faster, you're encouraged to experiment. If anything, consider them practice when navigating the actual hub-like intermissions between those linear sections with moon spots that require performing tricks or additional objectives that require mastering different tricks. The combos only really matter during boss battles, for the most part. You have to build up a combo and slam within proximity of your foes to deal damage. A risk versus reward mechanic where building up that combo in a single stretch to insta-wipe a boss would have been nice, especially given the time limit in these sections. However, I didn't see any difference between slamming after a 2,000 score combo versus a 15,000 score combo, which is kind of disappointing. So while there is a satisfying gameplay system to master, it's not really one that's in the pursuit of big scores, unless you count accruing souls and spending them on skate decks, stickers, wheels, and whatnot. The journey is what matters more than anything else, and even if the narrative is all over the place, in that respect, there is an undercurrent of celebration for skateboarding as a whole. Philosophical musings, does a trick make a sound if no one is around to hear it? Can sound corny. Oddly and appropriately, however, it fits with the overall atmosphere that Skate Story is going for. Somehow. As for side quests and activities, they're a little too simple in some respects, simply defaulting to get and deliver an item. The main quest steps, as they were, involve mastering aspects like grinding, and come across as more entertaining. However, the streamlining can feel a little excessive when trying to really explore and take in the various levels. All that said, Skate Story is worth checking out if you want a skateboarding experience with an excellent trick system and responsive controls, but also incredibly out there with its narrative and atmosphere. You wouldn't think a trash bag could serve as a complex labyrinth of perpetual blazes, or that the path to Bagelworld could be so treacherous. But if you leap, these and many other wondrous sights await. Hey, did you know that we at Gaming Bolt upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and hit that bell. And let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.